today we'll be touring an incredible 9.4.4 Dolby Atmos home theater that features a massive front soundstage and subwoofers from JTR, a beautiful 158-inch image on a silver ticket screen with the new JVC NZ7, rear subwoofers from Starke Sound, surrounds and Atmos speakers from JBL Synthesis, 8 super comfy theater seats from Valencia, and top-tier components from Trinnov, Kaleidescape, and D-Sonic. Now before we get into the tour, here's a word from today's sponsor, Silver Ticket. Silver Ticket has been around since the 1980s, offering a huge selection of projection screens at extremely affordable prices. Now whether you're looking for a fixed frame from 80 inches to 220 inches, a curved screen for maybe a dedicated home theater, an ALR screen for a room with a lot of ambient light, a portable outdoor screen for a neighborhood block party, or if you're handy and you want to build your own frame, you can purchase screen fabric up to 425 inches. Silver Ticket screens are simple to install, extremely affordable, and they look absolutely fantastic. Visit their website at silverticketproducts.com. I'll also have links to several of their screens down in the description below, so be sure to check them out after this video. Well, Damian, thanks so much for inviting me into your beautiful home, dude. This is an awesome home theater, and so we're gonna be going through all of your equipment, all of your gear. We're gonna talk about your journey, and I love what you've done in this space. So, Damian, again, thanks so much for having me, man.
Thank you, Michael, for coming down here. I mean, I know it was a 2.5 hour drive.
It's all good.
But I'm glad you made the trip, man.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it because this is a really exciting home theater. So Damian, let's go ahead and talk through what we see up here. We've got this big, massive image up here. So what are we looking at up front?
We're looking at a Silver Ticket 158-inch diagonal acoustically transparent screen.
So why did you want to go with an acoustic transparent screen? I know a lot of guys, when you're looking into building a home theater, you're trying to determine, you know, do I go with a fixed screen?
Right.
Do I go with an acoustic transparent screen?
Right.
And of course, you've got a scope screen here versus a 16:9. Kind of walk us through some of those decisions that you made.
Right. So the reason I went with the acoustically transparent screen is because I've always wanted the speakers, the subs, to be hidden away from my view while I'm enjoying the movie. I watch a lot of YouTube. Yeah. So I see a whole bunch of different theater designs, and some people like that they can see their speakers and subwoofers working, and some people don't even like the grill on their speakers and stuff.
Sure.
But my idea of my home theater, I would like it to be hidden and not seen.
Yeah.
But you can still enjoy it and just be immersed in the picture quality of the screen.
Sure. One thing I love about an acoustic transparent screen is having that center channel directly behind where the action is happening, and that anchors that right to what you're seeing visually. Yep. So I'm a big fan of acoustic transparent screens, so I think it's really awesome you went that direction.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, to me, there's no other way I could have possibly went, especially with the speakers that I chose.
Sure, and we're going to get to the speakers in just a minute. So thinking about your screen, what did you pair that with visually as far as projection?
Oh, as far as projection goes, I went with the JVC NZ7 AKE shift projector. I was definitely looking into the previous line, but right when I was about to pull the trigger, they came out with the the laser line. I was like, oh man, let me just go with this, because I seen my projector had 2,200 lumens.
Okay.
And I checked the specs on the NX9. I believe it also has 2,200 lumens. But I thought to myself, I could break into that 2,200 lumen space, but for a lot cheaper. So, and it's a laser, so it lasts longer.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
you get 20,000 hours versus 3,000 on a bulb.
Right.
And another benefit I love about the new laser projectors, whether it's from JVC, Sony, Epson, they don't really dim over time, which is really nice. Like in my projection system, I have the NX7, the older version. So it's a lamp base, and so over time, my projector continues to get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And so you've got a massive 158-inch screen, and so you went with that, and so that's going to help you out big time, especially over the long haul, because you're going to maintain that brightness throughout the duration of that projector. So I think that was a great choice. I'm jealous, to be honest with you. One day I want to get there, so I'm striving towards the. I'd love to have the NZ8, to be honest with you, but that's way on up there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I was a little hesitant with the NZ9 and 158-inch screen. I wanted to go as big of a screen image I can possibly get.
Nice.
And my only hesitation was, what if it's not as bright?
Yeah.
So, but luckily I tried to just make the room as dark as possible.
Sure.
That was the suggestion, and that will increase the lumens inside the room, or the perceived brightness.
Perceived brightness and contrast.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm glad with my decision.
I think it works out great, man, because it's got a beautiful image. I love JVC. I love their black levels, the black floor. It's just a beautiful image. And one thing that people always ask me is, how big should I go? And so do you have any, well, first of all, how far are you from the front row? What's your distance?
I would say about 9 to 10 feet away from the front row. And to be honest, that was another concern of mine. I thought maybe the screen would be too eye fatiguing to the front row. But I was pleasantly surprised that no, I mean, it just adds to the immersion, and it's really nice.
I got here at 10. It's 4:30 now. We're just now starting to film. We had lunch. We hung out a lot. But we went through a bunch of content, and you even asked me, Michael, just curious, did you have any eye fatigue? Do you think that's too close, too big? 100% not. That is phenomenal. That was a great immersive experience. 158 inches from 9 or 10 feet. Beautiful. So if you're hesitant to go that big, you got the thumbs up from me and thumbs up from Damian, man. It's an awesome.
You heard it here. Youthman gave it the thumbs up. Seal of approval.
It's an awesome experience. So definitely love that. So we've got one thing we didn't mention too, and I should have done that at the beginning. What is the size of your room? Because for you that are watching, this gives you an idea of, okay, what space is he working in? Because my camera, it's going to make the room look even bigger than what it is, probably because it's a wide angle lens. But that'll give you an idea of, okay, he was able to do this in that size room. And if you have a similar size room, or you're wanting to build a room that size, kind of gives them some perspective. So what size room are we looking at?
We're working with a 17-foot by 3-inch wide by a 19-foot by 6-inch long, and with an 8-foot ceiling height.
So we're like 17 by 19 roughly, and how high is ceiling?
8 foot.
Okay, an 8-foot ceiling. So that just gives you an idea of kind of what we're working with as we go around the room. And so we've looked at your screen, we've looked at your projection. So now let's talk about one of my favorite things is speakers and subwoofers. So what do you have going on here? Because there's kind of a mixed group of speakers here. So walk us through what you chose up front. We'll start there.
Okay, so up front, I have 3 JTR Noesis 215 RTs for the left, center, and right channels. I have 2 RS2 JTR subwoofers. And on the back end, I have 2 Starke 15-inch SW15 subwoofers. So for surrounds, I have the JBL Synthesis SCL6s. And for the rears, I have the JBL Synthesis SCL7s. And for the Atmos speakers, I have the JBL Synthesis SCL8s.
Okay, so we've got a combination of JBL and JTR, and then you've got Starke subwoofers. So some people are wondering, like, can I like mix and match that stuff? And honestly, my ears never, listened to any of the demos and went, man, that sounds out of place, or that sounds odd, having JBL Synthesis and JTR. So why did you go with 2 different things? Why didn't you go all JTR?
The reason I didn't go with all JTR was because I was working with my local dealer from Siegel Electronics. His name was Steven. And we were just brainstorming in the room, and I told him and showed him my theater design that I had made by home theater engineers. So he brought up the realization that with the JTR 110 slants, that it would be basically in my viewing, I guess, scope.
Kind of peripheral, maybe?
Yeah, when I'm actually watching a movie. And I said, you know what, I never really thought about that. It might be a little bit distracting. So he said, why not just go with in walls? So when he said to go with in-walls, I was kind of hesitant to do that because I was dead set on going JTR all the way. I mean,
Yeah.
JTR, I never heard it before, but just from watching all the YouTube video, positive feedback, your videos, of course, you know, I was sold, and I slept on it, and I came back and I said, you know what, he's right. I should go with, you know, some in-walls. So my wife and I previously visited a home theater store, and we got the opportunity to listen to the JBL synthesis system. And that was one of the few systems that my wife just fell in love with once she heard it.
Right.
So
So if you got the wife's approval, that's good there.
exactly. Yeah, right. So with that being said, I pulled the trigger on it, and I ended up getting it. And their JBL synthesis line, I mean, they use a horn tweeter.
Right.
Just as the JTR uses a horn tweeter, so I
Sure.
thought, you know, well, they're both horns, and maybe this is just me being new
Yeah.
to home theater, but I said, horn to horn. I mean,
That'd be a better blend than maybe a
Yeah.
horn and a soft dome tweeter or something
right,
like that.
correct. So I took the chance, and yeah, just as Michael said, I mean, I can't hear any stark differences or anything like that. It just blends perfectly together. And it blends so well, in fact, that sometimes you wonder, you know, where's the sound coming from?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, that's what my goal was,
Yeah.
and I'm happy with the end result. So one reason I went with the SCL7s is because of the ability for it to angle at a 45-degree angle. So with my current room configuration, I had a challenge, and this seemed to solve that problem. I was able to put one on each side of the rear seats, and it provides great coverage basically for the front and the back row. Does the job well.
Well, we were watching one of the clips from It, I believe.
Correct.
And where they're in the garage scene.
Right.
And when he busts out and he comes after the kids,
Yep.
there was a complete bubble in here. I mean, and like you said, it wasn't that you heard sound from one individual place. It completely covered it. It seemed very, very cohesive. So I think it's done a really, really good job of filling this space. And like you said, probably having the fact that they both share those same similar characteristics
Correct.
with the horn. Maybe that has something to do with that as well.
Yeah.
But you basically have a 7.4.4 setup. So you got 7 bed layer speakers, is that right? Or is it 9?
It's actually a 9.4.4.
So we got 9 speakers on the bed layer.
Right.
We got 4 subwoofers, 2 up front, 2 in the back.
Yep.
And those are different brand too. So we've
Yes.
got JTR speakers up front. We got Starke sound.
Starke sound, yep.
See, earlier you didn't even see it, but you said Starke different. So I thought you were doing a little pun there. So why did you go with Starke in the back?
Well, Starke, to be honest, I actually seen a review from Shane Lee's YouTube channel, and in his review, he only had one of the Starke SW15 subwoofers, and he just put it right under the center of his screen, and he was getting 10 hertz with that one subwoofer.
Nice.
So I said, wow, man.
So that's very, very deep for a single subwoofer, sure.
Exactly. So lo and behold, they were having a BOGO sale, buy one get one free.
You gotta like that.
Yeah, man, definitely a Youthman deal. So I pulled the trigger and I got 2 of them. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed with them. I mean, understandably so, coming from like the JTR's 2 subs. It's more of a, if I could describe it, the JTRs are more violent and more impactful, tactile. While this, although it is also tactile, it's just not to that degree of what I was.
Well, it's also a 15 versus dual 18s.
Right.
So there is quite a difference even
Vast
in that
difference.
and size. I mean, that's a pretty compact subwoofer.
Yep. But once I, came back to reality and I went back and watched the movie again, I started to definitely appreciate and feel the additional tactile feeling from the SW15 subs. So I would definitely say that it was a good buy. I mean, and that deal, you can't beat it.
Yeah. No, buy one, get one free. That never comes up. One thing that was interesting too is I love when I can feel the bass. And so sometimes I go to home theaters and And you know, you can hear the bass, but you can't feel it. But you've got it equally distributed throughout your room. You've got it dialed in with your software.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that when we get to your rack.
Right.
But you feel it in the chairs. And so, you know, some people have to add like near field sub or they need to add tactile transducers.
Right.
You got plenty of shake in those seats.
Yep.
And I didn't try the back seat, but that's on a wooden riser.
Right.
And so more than likely that's even getting more back there
Right.
because of that.
Yeah.
So just I mean, absolutely impressive sound.
Yep.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever heard a JTR system that I didn't like went away like just going, dude, that was an incredible experience.
Yep.
I just like the sound of horns, always have.
Yep.
So I've always went with clips. JTR just kind of took it to a whole new level.
Right.
So we've talked about your speakers, we've talked about your screen and your projection. So one thing I'm seeing on the walls, these funky little designs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. These are GIK acoustic panels. I actually first seen them on your channel. I know you have some, and I've started to do research on them, and I actually went on their website and looked at their packages and stuff like that, and I compared them with other brands like Acoustics and there's I forgot the other brand, but basically for value, the packages that they offer, I mean, are amazing. I end up getting the package number 2, I believe, on their website, and it basically covered my entire walls, and I got the, well, as far as placement goes, I think it's from Home Theater Guru. I think that's his channel is called.
Yeah.
But he basically was demonstrated or showed where you should put certain panels, and I just copied and pasted in my room as best as I could. And yeah, the only other thing I had to buy additionally was 2 more of these 2A diffuser absorption panels. To just for, you know, cohesiveness and throughout the room. But as far as the sound and the quality and the build of these sound panels, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, so, and I've noticed you've done a combination. So up front in what we call the first reflection point.
Yes.
That's where the sound from the front speakers are hitting the wall first.
Yep.
You wanted to kind of tame those, to stop those, and that's what I ended up doing with mine. I actually took the panel off the front ones just so I could stop the reflections from the first reflection point, but then I wanted some other scattered sound as well. And so I love how you've kind of done a combination of that, of reflective, absorptive, and then you've got just absorptive up here in the front. And so these right here are kind of different than mine. So mine are more like these front ones with the wooden slats on here. But this is a little bit different. What was maybe one of the challenges that you ran into with this?
Well, one of the challenges between the two, I mean, these are just foam on the back, so there's no hardware you can use to hang them. So I did some more YouTubing, and YouTube, man, it's just a wealth of information. I ended up finding Tech Enthusiasm.
Yep, Jeremy.
Jeremy, his YouTube channel, and he actually has the same panels that I do. And I seen that he was using 3M spray glue. And so I think he had like the 70 version, and I wanted the strongest one. So I ended up getting the 90. And so the first try, I just sprayed it on the wall, and I just tried to put the panel on the wall, and it fell off. So I brainstormed, and I said, you know what? I sprayed the back of the panel, I sprayed the wall, and it ended up acting as a Velcro almost. And it basically prevented the acoustic panels from ever falling off. I mean, to the utmost degree. I can put a power drill on there and some weight on there. It won't go anywhere. So,
well, I think they look great. They give a cool vibe to your room, but more importantly, they tame the reflections in the room, and I think that's super critical in building a home theater.
Yes.
So Damian, we are sitting in some seats that I'm pretty familiar with. But tell me what you got going on up front and in the rear, and they're actually 2 different colors, so tell us a little bit about that as well.
Right. Well, up front we have the black Valencia, Tuscany chairs. And you're a big influence of why I've purchased these chairs, and a bunch of other YouTubers that's been reviewing Valencia. So now Valencia has been known in the home theater community as like the pinnacle of home theater chairing seating, actually. And yeah, they're pretty cool. They're definitely comfortable, definitely lived up to the hype, you know. And in the back I have a set of the Valencia Ultimate Tuscany Edition seats. I got
that's their new ones.
Oh yeah, and man, they're premium. I mean, you can kind of sort of see the difference in here. It's this shiny leather for this one, and that one's more of a matte leather. The comfortability, it's just ever so, just slightly more comfortable with the Ultimate Edition seats, but the cool thing is you can take out the cup holders, you can change the LED lighting underneath, and it also has a USB-C charger now port. So
got the memory feature. I like that one.
A bunch of cool, you know, little upgrades that's definitely appreciated. And with each order, they were kind enough to send one of their packages that includes a wine holder, it includes a table, and an iPad holder. So yeah, so
super cool, man.
I mean, they're a great company. Did had a slight hiccup with the order, of course. With the Ultimate Tuscany Edition, I got unpacked 3, got to the last one, and noticed that it was actually a regular Tuscany in the black colorway. So I had to call the customer support, and we got all that hashed out.
Cool.
But otherwise than that, yeah, I mean, great seats. I would definitely recommend.
I know my wife, she'd rather us have like couches, but I'm thinking, man, we got couches in the living room. I want this to be like a true theater experience, but I want to take it to the next level. And that's why I wanted theater seats from the beginning. So I've always had theater seats for the past 15 years in mine, and just slowly over the years, I've upgraded those seats. And so I've been super pleased with them as well. So we've got Valencia regular up front, Valencia Tuscany Ultimate in the rear. And why'd you go with 2 different colors?
So the reason I went with 2 different colors is because of the paint selection of this room. I'm not sure how it's coming across, through the video, but it's actually a dark purple color from Valspar called Black Currant. And yeah, I thought, well, purple color, purple chairs, and I knew already I was gonna get black acoustic panels. So I thought it would tie nicely into the room, and it wouldn't be, I gave it a little pop of color, and the room is basically pretty much dark on its own.
Yeah, so did you pick out that color or your wife?
Oh, my wife definitely picked out that color. I showed her, all the other colors, the black and stuff like that. She was like, oh, that's kind of boring. She wanted a little bit of, liveliness to the room.
Sure, and add some of that. And so we're gonna look at, so you notice the rear seats are quite a bit higher. So how about let's take a step around there and let's take a look at what you've done back there, because you did all the work yourself.
Yes.
Let's check that out.
All right. So this riser, long story, but I'm definitely not handy at all.
Me neither.
I'm not at all, and this was a big undertaking for me. My cousin, who was definitely influential in helping me build this theater, mainly through motivation. He just told me to, watch some YouTube videos and, just try my hand at it. So that's exactly what I did. I ended up finding a YouTuber who actually built this kind of same riser with the 4 seating on top and stuff like that. And I just basically followed exactly what he did. And before I even attempted to do that, however, as I mentioned before in the video, I had a room design already made out for me by Home Theater Engineering out in Australia. So I just wanted to double check with that design to make sure that I have the right height to see over the front row. So basically, I checked that height, and then I seen on your channel that Audio Advice had put out a new 3D mapping for if you want to design your home theater and stuff like that. So I utilized their program also, just to
kind of check to see if that was accurate and see if it measured up.
Exactly, and it gave you like a kind of sort of like a real life scenario view, and you know, after you're done, it gives you all the specs and stuff like that.
Sure.
So when I inputted my screen size and my projector, my seating, it actually told me that my riser needed to be way higher than what was, you know, initially what I thought it needed to be. So I ended up going about 15 inches high for this riser right here. Man, I end up using 2x4s and 2x8s, and then over here.
Yeah, because I know you and I had this conversation.
Right.
Like, that's an interesting place to put the outlet.
Yes, exactly. So, me again being not handy at all, and never doing DIY, I end up tracing out the exterior of the socket instead of the interior portion. So I end up cutting the hole bigger than what it was supposed to be.
Sure.
So I tried to MacGyver as much as possible, you know, and and it looked good. But as soon as someone stepped on it, it's kind of sunk in a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's how it is right now and how it's going to stay. So if I could go back, I would definitely put it, you know, in the front right there. And I also have one behind this chair, you know, the same distance away. I probably wouldn't even have added that one because I didn't think about there being already existing outlet on the wall itself. So I really don't even use that one at all.
Sure.
So yeah, definitely something, if you're thinking about building a riser yourself, something to think about before you actually go do it.
And I think that's one reason why I love doing these home theater tours is because we're not scared to share, hey, look, this isn't ideal. This is something I learned along the way, so that if you're watching this from home and you're wanting to build something like this, maybe it could save you some headache, or maybe you didn't think about that, or you didn't foresee that as being a possible, you know, a problem. And so here, you know, I mean, somebody could trip over that, fall off here, you know, if you had grandma up here, you know what I mean? You know, and so you don't want that. So ideally, that probably is a better place to put it on the front side of these for the front seats. And like you said, you really don't necessarily need it for the back because you've got your wall outlets back there.
Right.
The main reason to give power outlets up here is to kind of hide those cables.
Yep.
I love the fact you got a lot of room back here.
Yeah.
I don't have that luxury. My room is not as deep, and so you're able to recline. And more than likely, they could recline and still have access to walk here, you know, pretty good. And I like what you've done down here, though. So tell us a little bit about that.
So before, when I initially built the riser and everything, and I was, you know, overjoyed. I just wanted to see it work and
just hook it all up, man.
Exactly. I had all these wires just all over the place, kind of, sort of. So it was kind of a trip hazard. So I was brainstorming and thinking about ideas to try to add some kind of wire management. And I went on Amazon. I seen this plastic tubing type kind of thing for wire management, and it was black and it had like adhesive on the back. So I purchased a couple of those. One right here. I put one right here. I put one over there.
I think you got one up here, kind of having some speaker wires.
Yeah, I even got one all the way up here. And this is because one of the challenges of this room, and there's actually wooden studs separating, you know, the framing of the door. So there's no way I could possibly put an end wall in there.
Right.
So this weird looking box right here is basically a wooden box made out of MDF that I had a guy make for me. And basically I just covered it with adhesive black flock material, which is supposed to be darker than velvet. And I just used the same black plastic tubing that I used for wire management on the floor for that one wire that was just hanging out from the ceiling. And it was a little bit distracting, but now I feel like it kind of hides itself away and is less distracting to the eye when you're enjoying the movie.
Absolutely. And one thing we forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about the screen is that you actually use the same fabric, I believe, for around your screen. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
So what did you do up there, and why did you want to kind of cover around your screen with that fabric?
So initially, when I first just had the screen up there and the projector was projecting, it had a great image, sure. But I did notice there was a lot of reflection I was getting on the ceilings, and you know, around the screen. So it was starting to get a little bit distracting. And I seen on some YouTube channels that people actually put black velvet around the screens in order to get like a floating screen effect.
Sure.
And it looked really cool. It just basically enhanced even more the picture quality that the screen was getting from the projector. So I ended up using the same black adhesive flock material all the way around the screen, and yeah, I mean, it definitely helped out a lot. I definitely enjoyed the movie more, and yeah, it definitely achieved that floating screen effect that I was going for.
Yeah, like you said, by doing that, it actually enhances the picture and the image quality. And so pairing the JVC with the silver ticket screen, darkening that around there, you just got a sweet looking image, man. I love it.
Oh yeah, and silver ticket screen, their weave, man, for the price is absolutely amazing. It gives a great picture quality. I have really no complaints about it.
So Damian, one thing that I love talking about is LED lighting, and I'm just kind of new to this.
Right.
And I even found out in your home theater, you have some LED lights I didn't even really know that this particular brand made. So tell us a little bit about what you went with and what you've got going on lighting wise.
All right, so I ended up going with the Govee LED lights. Originally, when I first got the room, there was only one center light in the room, and it was pretty dark in here. Even with the light on, I had to get like a headlight just to, you know, cut holes for the speakers and stuff like that. So I decided to go with the Govee lights on the wall, and actually I found out that Govee made in-ceiling can lights also.
Yeah, I didn't know they made that.
Yeah, exactly. I seen it and I was like, man, I guess I don't want to get two different brands of lights. So my thought process was, well, Govee on the wall, Govee in-ceiling, and they can work and mesh well together. So
you can kind of group those. You can change. The cool thing I love about this is they're fully like RGB, man.
Right.
You can color, like change those colors. You can see in these pictures, we've got examples of just different lighting combinations.
Yep.
You've got the whole rainbow spectrum to change your side lights right here. You can control those a different color. Like you could use these where they're at now, kind of in the middle. They're not super warm. They're not really on the soft white kind of side.
Right.
They're right in the middle. But I love how you've got that flexibility to do that. But I didn't know that they sell the can lights, so that is pretty actually interesting. I like that.
Yeah, and the only thing I wish I would have taken into consideration with the in-ceiling lights is that unlike the modern day wafer lights, that's super thin, you can place them underneath a what is it?
Like a drop ceiling
or
or
a truss. There
oh,
we go.
okay.
You could place it right underneath the truss, no problem. But with the Govee, they had about a inch thick backing on it, so that's the one problem I ran into with the center light. I had to actually cut a different hole.
Oh, oopsie, I got to move this over.
Place it over to the right ever so slightly, and I was good to go.
To get beyond the truss.
Right. And the good thing I like about these is for a person like me, like I said, I'm not handy, no background in electrical. I was able to just run to Romex and watch a YouTube video, and they basically come with everything you possibly need to install these lights. They come with the junction boxes, simple to follow instructions. Yeah, I mean, if you're ever thinking about buying these lights, I would definitely say go for it. It's definitely DIY friendly.
Super cool. Well, I think the title of this video is going to be YouTube helped me build my home theater, because you YouTubed everything. But one thing I really love about your story is that you were kind of challenged by one of your relatives, right, or a friend?
Right. I was challenged by my cousin Edward, Eddie, I call him.
Yeah, he's like, he wanted you to get outside of your comfort zone. And a lot of the stuff, you said you're not handy, I'm not handy.
Right.
But I love the fact that you're taking a risk. You're like, you know what, I don't know how to build a riser, but I'm going to figure it out. There's enough resources out there for me to do some Googling, to do some YouTubing, to find, is there somebody that has done something like this, and can they walk me through step by step? And that's really what I try to do with home theater, with home theater tours, give you guys some tips and tutorials on how-tos and what to do, what not to do. But there's no reason why we can't learn almost anything nowadays with the advent of the internet, and especially with YouTube. And so I applaud you, man, for being able to run your own wiring, to build your own riser here, install your LED lights and all that. So I think you've done a super job, man. This has been really, really cool.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. Definitely got to thank all the YouTubers out there that's you know, doing the hard work and putting all this information out there for people that, you know, don't want to really do it themselves, but you know, maybe they don't have a choice, and it's definitely budget friendly, definitely something that is relatively simple to do. Maybe they don't have the confidence to do it, but thank you out there to all the YouTubers that you know, do what you do. Thank you.
All right, Darian, we've got this beautiful rack. Tell us what you've got in here.
All right, so this is a Sanus 85-inch rack. I always liked the look of a rack. I thought of doing like maybe a furniture build setup or something like that, maybe just one of those things, but a rack just gave me that real home theater vibe. So just starting with the top, I got the Tone Winner, I think it's the 7300 300 watt per channel, 7-channel amplifier, and I have that powering, well, the surrounds and the rears, I believe, or sorry, not the surrounds, the rears and the Atmos. And basically, I believe the recommended wattage for these JBLs are 200 watt RMS. So I decided that for the price for value, I mean, this thing's like $1,000 or something like that.
That's
I mean, like,
crazy.
man,
that's a lot of wattage for that amount of money.
Exactly. I mean, you really can't beat that. And then the Pinnacle Trinnov Altitude 16, I ended up getting a crazy Youthman deal on this Trinnov right here. I always desired to have a Trinnov. You know, I was gonna go with a Marantz or something like that, but I met a guy, his name is John Del Costa, here in Florida, and he was actually selling it for like $13,000. So I convinced my wife, I begged her, I said, you know, it's definitely gonna pay off, this thing's gonna make the room sound amazing. And yeah, she said, all right, you know, if you say so. And she allowed me to, you know, make a huge purchase on that. And it's amazing, especially for a beginner DIY like myself. The whole process was pretty simple and easy to understand. And it does all the calibration and stuff for you. So there's no need to hire like a professional calibrator to come out here. I'm pretty sure I could still call Trinnov themselves, and they have an awesome customer service that they can guide me through over the phone, or even tap in via internet to help me set up the Trinnov and really dial in my room sound and stuff like that. I still haven't done it yet, but it's something that I'm looking forward to doing in the future. So
and one thing that we had talked about earlier is the fact that you've got kind of mix-matched speakers.
Yes.
And so I kind of wonder too how much of the Trinnov is doing a good job at kind of integrating that sound signature and kind of blending that together. So that may be a pretty good significant component of the dynamics of your room and how that's blended seamlessly.
Right, correct. That was definitely a worry I had also, but I was relieved with the Trinnov, because the selling point with the Trinnov is that it's able to, I guess, take whatever speaker brand you have, not in whatever positioning, but in some fairly unfavorable positions, and is able to calibrate in such a way where it creates phantom sounds to where the speaker is supposed to be placed. So that really sold me on the Trinnov and made me want to, you know, pay that high price for it. And,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely pretty pinnacle. I mean, Trinnov's up there with Storm Audio, and there's only a few processors up that high.
Yeah.
So you went all the way to the top, man. I'm super pumped for it. It sounds great.
Yeah, man, no regrets.
So what do we have below that?
So below that, I actually have a topping D30 Pro DAC, and I had to actually get that for my additional subwoofers in the back from Starke. I actually corresponded with Chuck back from Trinnov, and Trinnov put out an update where you can add an additional 4 channels to the already 16-channel processor.
Right.
So by utilizing the spit-off in the back of the Trinnov.
Okay.
So Chuck back, you know, he even recommended, you know, 2 different price point DACs that I could utilize, and this was being the, of course, the, you know, the more affordable DAC. It was pretty simple, plug and play, and just pressing add plus 4 additional channels in the actual Trinnov software calibration.
Nice.
And the same process again, just setting up the speakers and stuff like that. It was pretty simple, and yeah, it works like a charm. I can't complain.
Nice.
So,
and below that, what do we got?
All right. Below that, I have another pinnacle product on the market right now, the Kaleidescape 6 terabyte server and Kaleidescape movie player, Strato C, I believe. What can I say about Kaleidescape that hasn't already been said? I mean, Kaleidescape is definitely night and day difference, better than any streaming service, or I don't know, DVD or anything that I've heard before. It kind of, how do I explain it? It enhances the audio, it enhances the picture quality. I did an A/B test with Aquaman, for instance, just from like HBO Max streaming and versus the Kaleidescape, and even the slightest, what do you call it, window shutter banging against the house in the beginning scene of Aquaman. Night and day difference. It sounded like, you know, just it's kind of soft with the streaming service, but with the Kaleidescape, it sounded like boo, boo, but like someone was beating down the door, and it was insane. The difference in quality, the difference in picture. I know the price, the entry price to get into a Kaleidescape is kind of, you know, unnerving to some people. They want to know if it's justifiable, if it's going to be worth it. And I'm here to tell you, I'm just a regular Joe Smo like anybody else, and
you work hard, you save up, and you buy some cool toys.
Right, man. And I didn't even, to be honest with you, I purchased this from Sky by Gramophone, and I used a Klarna, I believe. It's a third-party finance option to finance the Kaleidescape, because I just wanted it. I wanted my home theater to have kind of sort of the best products in there that I could possibly afford. Maybe it won't be the top tier of the best, but at least the entry level. So, and I thought Kaleidescape would definitely, you know, enhance my theater along with the Trinnov, and, you know, so the only thing left is Mad VR.
Oh, goodness. Well, we'll have some videos on Mad VR coming soon, so at least help you walk you through what that can offer, and some tutorials on how to use it.
Right. So above the Kaleidescape, everybody knows this small little black box up there. It's the new 2022 Apple 4K TV. I think enough has been said about that. It's really simple. Apple 4Ks. It's still a great product. Seamless software. It's great. I can't say enough about it. Below that, I have the Eero Wi-Fi hub that provides hard-wired internet to the Kaleidescape system. I have the SurgeX power protectors for, you know, blackouts or anything like that. Living in Florida, there's plenty of storms and plenty of blackouts and stuff
Lightning
like that.
capital of the world.
Right. And I wanted to protect all of my, you know, equipment. This is very expensive stuff. Even replacing it, even though some of them is, you know, under warranty and stuff like that, it's still...
It's a hassle.
Exactly. To ship it out and wait for it to come back and stuff like that. Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm able to enjoy my home theater whenever and I want, basically.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Below that, I have the PS5 console.
So do you game a lot on it, or?
Here and there. I mean, growing up, I've had almost every video game system probably that's out since the 90s.
Sure.
So, you know, when PS5 came out, it was a no-brainer. I had to get it. And yeah, I enjoy it. Me and my cousin Ed, we play a lot of Street Fighter and stuff like that on there, and yeah, it's great. I can't really complain.
So playing it on the big screen is a truly, it's a pretty amazing experience for sure.
Definitely. And right below that, last but not least, is my D-Sonic amplifier, which is also another 7-channel amplifier with the left, center, and right channels providing 2,200 watts to my JTR Noesis 215s. That's being that these speakers are 4 ohms, so you know it doubles the amplification. And then it's also providing about 800 watts to my surrounds, my JBL SEL6s. So yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with the equipment that I have right now. I don't get any speaker hiss or anything like that. As you can probably hear in the video, I'm not sure if you can pick that up. But yeah, it's been great, and I'm looking forward to upgrading soon down the line. Yeah.
All right, Damian, you have done a phenomenal job with this home theater. There's so many things that I really, really enjoy about this. It's really spacious. I'm jealous of the width and the depth that you've got. You got this massive screen, beautiful image. You got incredible speakers. You've got great processing, Kaleidescape. You got like all the big boy toys, man, that we all dream about. But there are a lot of guys that I think that are watching this video that can relate to something that you said earlier, and that's they're not real handy. And I'm one of them. And so what advice could you give to the person watching this video that is considering building a home theater, but they're not really handy?
Right. I say the biggest advice is patience, number one. Just keep in mind that I know when we watch YouTube and stuff like that, we can see things and we may think that it's super easy. My biggest thing that I learned throughout this whole process is, even if it's easy, if it looks easy, it's never easy.
It's always harder when it looks on camera.
Way harder.
You know why? Because we can edit out all the difficult parts that we struggled through it.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I gotta also say that have some faith. Right. We're capable of doing more than what we think we're able to do. I know a lot of us are scared to get out of their comfort zone, and you know, they don't know anything about cutting or anything like that, but there's just a wealth of information on YouTube from different YouTubers and stuff like that that can slowly guide you. I had to literally watch a video maybe 4 or 5 times just to grasp the concept of something. And also, I'm Christian, so my faith in Jesus Christ, of course, you know, I'm just happy that I have Jesus in my life. You know, it's very difficult sometimes. I'm up here by myself, and you know, I just want to give up. And you know, I just pray to Jesus and, you know, just ask him, like, please give me the strength to just get through this and
help me figure this thing out.
Exactly. You know, and you know, I at that moment of despair, it just changed to positivity, and cool. I just can continue doing what I do slowly but surely, and then little by little, everything just started to come into fruition. The risers started to come together. I mean, these little jaggedy pieces here. I mean, I was able to MacGyver it and make it work, and you know, I'm very happy with the ending product. Yeah, I would definitely say, if you're thinking about building your home theater, maybe you don't have the funds, and I know I have a lot of cool toys and Kaleidescape and Trinnov and stuff like that. I would just say just take your time. If you don't have the funds, I mean, I didn't pay cash for everything, so I'm definitely not loaded by any means.
You just work hard, man.
Right. I just work hard. You know, if I had to take out a loan to get what I wanted, you know, talk with the wife, of course, you know, just don't go out there and go crazy. But yeah, I did all of that was necessary to get what I needed, and it all worked out in the end, and I'm pretty happy with it.
I think another big part of that, kind of piggybacking on what you said, was you didn't do this by yourself, right?
For sure not. Correct. I had a lot of people not physically help me, but like, for instance, my wife, you know, she was definitely always there in my corner.
She's supportive,
supportive, checking up on me.
You dead yet?
Exactly. she thought I was crazy, you know. I told her I wanted to do this, and when push came to shove, you know, you have to put out. I think that's how the saying goes. So she seen me come up every day, doing a little bit here and there, painting, maybe cutting some wood, just up here, just constantly up here, putting in the work to finally make it come together. My cousin Eddie, he also is the one that pushed me to get my hands dirty, so to speak.
Because it's expensive. Like if you were to hire somebody to
Right.
build this out
Right.
and to do all the work for you, you're going to spend a fortune. Some of you guys can afford to do that. But like you said, you're not like just blowing up with money. You work hard, you save up, but you're like, okay, it's going to cost me this, or I can put the blood, sweat, and tears into it, do some work, do some homework, even do some trial and error.
Right.
But I'm going to figure this out to save some money.
Right.
But you've got some people like Eddie to kind of come alongside of you to give you a hand on that.
Right. Eddie, big motivational person in my life. You know, he pushed me in order to get this done. It was more of a challenge for me personally, per se, just to make it happen and bring it to fruition so he can actually see it and enjoy it. And, you know, I could say, you know what, you know, thanks, Ed, you really helped me out. My mother-in-law, Joy, she also came up here and, you know, she helped me out to put up the projection screen there. And my brother-in-law, who just visited, helped me to put up some adhesive flock tape. So Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say, and it just took over a 5-month period to slowly but surely get everything the way that it looks today. And I'm pretty pleased with the results. I'm happy. There's definitely, you know, room for improvement, of course, but, you know, I'm very satisfied with the results I have right now.
Sure. So speaking of kind of like improvement, I know you shared with me a few things that you would like to do, because no home theater is ever finished, right?
Exactly.
We're always thinking about, okay, I do want to tweak this, or I want to change this, or I want to add this. So what are kind of the future plans for your home theater?
Right. Future plans, the first thing is the carpet. Originally, my original intention was to rip this carpet out, to add absorptive insulation on the flooring, and then add, you know, the nice looking theater carpets and stuff like that. But this goes back to the first question. I would probably suggest that if you were to do the home theater, to start with there first, because that's probably the simplest thing to do. And in my case, I have very light carpets, so if I would have had darker carpets, some of the mistakes like the paint dripping from the ceiling onto the light carpet wouldn't be so evident, you know. So that's definitely something. I definitely want to get a star ceiling in here. I think that would definitely complete the movie home theater look that I'm going for. And I've seen a lot of cool star ceiling panels with the shooting stars and constellations and all kinds of crazy stuff that they got out right now. That's definitely another thing that I look forward to doing in the future.
Now, you said you're not handy though, so are you going to tackle that? Because that's a big project.
No, definitely. I'm definitely, and I would advise anybody else, I mean, definitely hire somebody to do that. I can't say that enough. I mean, I wouldn't.
I know some guys that have tackled that. Some of my friends on YouTube, Tony, Build Montage, he's done it in his. That's a lot of work. It's a tedious process. I know a friend that did one in his, and he said he's got like 1,400, what do you call them?
Those like LED, tiny micro needle.
Oh my goodness, why not fiber optic cables or whatever. So you have to physically punch holes, feed those through, glue them so they don't pull back out, and then trim them. So it's a big process. So you're going to hire that part out.
Definitely, and my hat's off to all those YouTubers out there that actually, you know, did it themselves. I mean, wow, man, you guys got a lot of patience, and it looks amazing. I got to give my props to you guys.
So that would totally look cool in here, because you got this big open ceiling.
Right.
So I think that would be really, really neat.
Yep. And last but not least, of course, I mentioned it before, the MAD VR, MVVR Extreme. I definitely need that to complete my end game home theater.
So
journey.
what do you think that the Mad VR is going to? And like I said, we're going to be doing some videos on the channel on the Mad VR. I've got one in, and so we're going to be going through the different features and the tutorials. But kind of, why are you wanting to go that direction? Like, what do you think it would add to your setup here?
Right. I have the you know, the NZ7. It has 2200 lumens. Definitely a far cry from the NZ9, which is like,
well, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So what I've seen the Mad VR is capable of doing is enhancing that picture quality and, you know, stretching that image across the screen to give you that full screen image. I think it's called nonlinear stretch, and it's able to auto adjust your aspect ratio, which is basically going from like a 16:9 to a 2.39.1 and back and forth.
And some movies switch in the middle of the movie.
Right.
You know, so like we were watching Maverick, and so it's going like this.
Yep.
And so you're wanting to kind of, let's just do this.
Exactly.
Fill that screen.
Just fill it 100% all the time.
Makes sense.
You'll never know from what the demos I've seen, you'll never know that the Mad VR is doing that. Yeah. And man, it just looks amazing.
So you told me you were going to like, I'm putting 20 aside here, 50 aside
here,
here, 100 aside here.
All right. And then
so
you said,
I said, you're going to put 1,000.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is something you told me, like, hopefully by the end of this year, hopefully you'll be able to save up enough. And so again, you know, I don't want people to look at your room and go, oh yeah, he's got just, no, I mean, you work really, really hard. You and your wife both, you work together as a team, and I always say, work hard, play hard, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's awesome.
And I understand, you know, a lot of people that's home theater enthusiasts like myself, they have, you know, big families, maybe they have children and stuff like that, so they don't have the ability, because I don't currently have any children yet, to, you know, allocate money towards, you know, fun toys like this and stuff like that. So it's, you know, it's very understandable. But one thing I just don't want people that aspire to have these things to just give up hope, like it's unattainable. I mean, it may take you a little bit longer than it takes me or someone else, but I would say still continue to pursue your journey. Youthman always preaches, you know, start where you can, you know, and slowly build your way up.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if you just continue being persistent, you'll eventually reach your goal. I haven't reached my goal, but that's not going to stop me from continuing to upgrade my
well,
home theater.
I'm 15 years into my theater build, and I'm still not finished. And I think that's something that I really enjoy. I enjoy the process.
Yep.
I enjoy the journey, and I encourage my audience to enjoy the journey, man, wherever you're at. If you got a sound bar, celebrate the sound bar, man. There's nothing wrong with that. If you got just a pair of bookshelf speakers or a pair of old Infinity Tower speakers from back in the day, the Kappas or whatever, rock those things out. Enjoy it with your family. As time, I'm helping a friend of mine. He's building a really, really budget-friendly, and he just texted me today while we were right before we started filming, and he said, man, I'm buying a Epson 5040 UB, which is an older projector that I used to have, but he's like, man, I'm selling this, and I think I'll have enough money, and then I can do this, and he's trying to do all the math, and he's trying to get as creative as he can without just having to spend a fortune, and he's going to have a really, really fun and really awesome home theater, and I love that. I love being able to celebrate all sizes, all shapes. I just love the hobby, and I love the passion that you have for home theater. This has been super fun. So, Damian, one last question before we wrap up the video. So you mentioned that this took you about 5 months to build out your room and get it the way it is now. It's not finished. Still some things you want to work on. But if you could back up 5 years ago, is there anything that you would do different? And the reason why I like asking that is because if you're watching this video, hopefully you can learn from some of Damian's mistakes and some of the things that he didn't think about the first go around. And so when he does Damian's Home Theater 2.0, he would do something different. So what advice would you give to these guys, things that you would do differently if you did it again?
One major advice that I would give is basically I kind of rushed things a little bit. I wanted to complete my home theater as fast as possible. And by doing that, I just like, I guess there's a joke like what people won't read the manuals when they get a new product or something, and they'll just attempt to do it.
Right.
So simple things like I showed earlier with the riser and the wall outlet, I mistakenly cut out too big of a hole for the outlet. So simple stuff like that. I would definitely, like I said, change the carpet first before I would have done anything. I would have
Adding
invested
all
in
the
that.
riser, which is heavy as
Right.
anything, and you
Right.
got this front, not cabinet, but kind of like a false wall.
Yep. So now going forward, I know already that I'm going to have to fork out, some change for someone to come in here and move all of this equipment, chairs,
Yeah.
to install that carpet,
carpet, yeah.
inside here and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, definitely just take your time. If you're going to do it, do it properly. I know we're all eager to get the things going so we can just start watching movies already, but
Yeah.
trust me, once you make a mistake, it's gonna
Sure.
it might not affect you today, but it's gonna cost you down the line.
What's that saying? Proper planning prevents poor performance, or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
So just thinking ahead, thinking through what you're wanting to accomplish, and doing research. But on the flip side, you don't want to get caught up in what I call analysis paralysis, where you're watching countless YouTube videos, but you're not doing anything. Like
Right.
you're not building anything.
Right.
Get to work, trust your gut, use your faith, like I can do this, I believe I can, and just get to work at it, man.
Right. Yeah.
Well, anything else, Damian?
No, Michael, thank you again for coming out.
Dude, this has been
appreciate
a
you, man.
blast. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this incredible home theater. Another big thanks to Silver Ticket for sponsoring this video, making it possible. And as always, you guys be blessed, and we will catch you in the next video.